Winterspell didn't just introduce new cards, it introduced 3 new franchises to Disney Lorcana. Today, I'm going to be going over the top 3 cards from each of the new franchises, along with one honorable mention that I think will age very well. Hi, I'm ZBexx, a professional cosplayer and trading card game personality. Follow me everywhere and make sure you check out the Disney Lorcana podcast I co-host, the Play Lorcana podcast. Let's start off with Pocahontas, a Disney movie that originally released in 1995. The number 1 card from Pocahontas that you're going to see played is Grandmother Willow, Ancient Advisor. This card reads, once during your turn, you pay 1 less for the next character you play this turn. This is huge because it allows cards to be played at a faster speed, curves are getting lowered down, and sequencing matters a lot more for the order in which you play your characters. In addition to that, the abilities stack. So if you have multiple Grandmother Willows, you're going to see a benefit of 2 or even more discount on the first character that you play each turn. It's being added to a ton of Amber decks. At the first Winterspell League at my local game store, I happened to play against an Amber Amethyst deck that was really hot. I also have seen it in Amber Steel. I've seen it in Princesses for Amber Sapphire, and even Dogs, Amber Emerald. And that's not it. There's even a really fast aggressive deck in Amber Ruby. Basically, any color combination with Amber, you probably want to play Grandmother Willow. The next impactful card from Pocahontas is in fact Pocahontas, Finding the Way. Now, this isn't the legendary one, but just a common. And here's why it's going to matter. She reads, whenever you play this character, chosen character gets +1 lore this turn. So just as a final move to get over the finish line of 20 lore, it kind of represents the same type of position as the White Rose. Some decks are running 4 of them. Maybe it's just going to be the top end of an aggressive curve. And of course, if they are playing the more expensive Pocahontas, you're able to use her for shift. Okay, now here's my sleeper pick from Pocahontas, Wisdom of the Willow. It's an action, and the text on it is so insane. It reminds me of a Magic the Gathering card, Glimpse of Nature, that was so popular once there was enough synergistic cards that it got banned in some formats. It reads, for the rest of this turn, whenever one of your character's quests, you may draw a card. So it does require exerting your characters. However, you've seen how many characters Amber can get on the board early, especially with the Grandmother Willow discount available. And exerting so many characters, I would expect people to be drawing anywhere from 3 to 5 cards potentially from only using 4 ink from their inkwell. And also, it's only an uncommon. So all of these cards should be relatively easy to pick up at your local game store or find in a booster pack. Let's move on to The Fox and the Hound, originally airing in 1981 and my favorite of the new franchises that are being added. I built my first deck for Winterspell around all of these cards, specifically Copper, Champion of the Forest. This 5-cost character has shift, so it could be played as early as turn 3, and it reads, whenever this character quests, your characters with evasive gain +1 lore this turn. I've had some explosive plays with it, where I play an evasive Pegasus on 1, the little Copper, another Pegasus on turn 2. I'm able to shift it down and be questing for 6 on turn 3, which is pretty insane. In addition to giving your evasive characters a benefit, this card is going to be one of the only cards that some opponents will be able to remove, but with 5 willpower, it's not that simple to get rid of. The second card I love from The Fox and the Hound is Education or Elimination. This 4-cost action is a song, so it could be sung, and it gives you 2 different modes to choose from. I love versatility in a card. You may choose to draw a card. Chosen character of yours gets +1 lore and gains evasive until the start of your next turn, or you can banish chosen damaged character. This is pretty big because Emerald doesn't have a whole lot of removal right now, so I'm seeing this card show up in 4-ofs in a lot of different decks that contain Emerald. Everything from Emerald Sapphire to Emerald Amethyst, even Emerald Ruby. And my third pick, Game Preserve Protected Land. This is the only location out of this entire video that I'm going to be highlighting. First of all, it's a location that gains you 2 lore at the start of your turn. We've seen other locations that can do this, and they can be pretty powerful, especially if your opponent can't deal with them. Game Preserve reads, while there's a character with evasive here, this location gains evasive. So not only may your opponent have trouble dealing with the evasive characters you have, but now that location doesn't have to worry about just being taken out by one character, any given character. It must have evasive or alert. And this just helps bring the tide a little bit faster for anybody who's trying to go with a cheap evasive deck, and also seems really well with all of the other cards from the Fox and the Hound. On to our last new franchise, Darkwing Duck, airing from 1991 to 1992. This cartoon has a bunch of wacky heroes, but I'm going to talk about a villain first. It's Negaduck, evil doppelganger. This is also not the rare one, but the common, and I want to highlight the strength on this guy. It's a 4/2 for 2 that's inkable. 4 strength can take out a lot of characters. You get that Amber Daisy Duck out of the way, among many others. It's giving aggro a little bit of extra oomph to be able to take out problems. I think you're going to see this card in any Ruby deck that's going fast. Moving on to the second card, the Terror That Flaps in the Night. This 2-cost action is needed removal. Since losing some of the steel removal cards from chapters 1 through 4, we've been kind of just doing what we can with abilities on characters, and now we have a dedicated removal spell that deals 2 damage to chosen opposing character. And if you are playing Darkwing Duck, it deals 3 damage instead. We're already seeing this in the blue steel detective decks, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are more packages that pop up that need removal that will play this card. I would run this just as a 2-cost that does 2 damage. We need removal, but if you're playing Darkwing Duck, the sapphire one or the steel one, you're going to be able to get a bonus for it even easier. Now, this last one is a little bit of a sleeper pick, but the theme of this video has been talking about aggro decks with reduced cost from Grandmother Willow and increased strength with other small characters. So a card that can be even faster than those is Splatter Phoenix, Rejected Artist. This is one of the new underdogs, a new mechanic that we're seeing where if you didn't go first and it's your first turn, you can pay 1 less to play it. And it's one of those underdog characters that quests for 2 lore. Not only that, it has ward, which means opponents can't choose this character except to challenge, so it's not going to be susceptible to, say, the removal spell, the Terror That Flaps in the Night that I just mentioned previously. You're just going to be able to get more lore on the board early, or even hold it up for a final move to get that 20 lore and win the game. Here's my honorable mention. Even though we've had Lilo and Stitch and other characters in Disney Lorcana before, this set, Winterspell, is the first time that we've had characters from the animated cartoon, the TV show that launched in 2022. Let's talk about Angel, Experiment 624. This card is going to be a powerhouse at the top end of any deck with steel. I've already seen it showing up in some steel amber decks, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's more ink color combinations where we see it. She reads, while you have no cards in hand, this character gains resist +2, so damage dealt to them is reduced by 2. And once during your turn, you may choose and discard a card to deal 2 damage to chosen character. This is crazy because any card that didn't have any relevance to the gameplay, that maybe you're like, well, I guess I could put it in ink, or even if it's uninkable and you're sitting there not being able to do anything with it, maybe it's too expensive to play, whatever the reason, you can just choose and discard that and deal 2 damage to a character. That's enough to get rid of Grandmother Willow, or even Negaduck, some other cards that I definitely think we're going to see in the meta. I definitely think Winterspell is speeding up the format from what we saw at the most recent Disney Lorcana Challenge in Richmond that I happened to be broadcasting. What was your favorite pick out of this list? And do you think I missed any cards in Winterspell from these new franchises that are popular? Let me know in the comments. And remember, you are fabulous.